So being an educator, what I get to spend most of my time doing is helping people to become better learners and to be able to learn for their whole lifetime. And also to learn not just what it's about immediately in front of them. We're all often able to learn our professions. We're able to understand the personalities in our families well enough to get by day to day. But a truly educated person and someone who is really able to learn can learn whatever they want about themselves and their families, again, but learn it more, to learn more history, to learn maybe not just accounting, but learn more about math, learn about stoichiochemistry, learn about the seasons. Any of that is what's available for someone who knows how to educate themselves. And so being an educator, my two things that I spend most of my time teaching my students is how to ask questions, and then how to participate in a conversation about the answers that they get. And so questions really perhaps don't get enough credit as they should. And I'll paraphrase Einstein here. This is not exactly what he said, but there's a story that once he was asked if he had an hour to solve the greatest problem in the world and his life depended on it, he would spend 59 minutes figuring out what question to ask. And this is so critical. Whether you are holding an interview with someone, or whether you are designing your own research, or whether you are simply having a conversation with a friend, the right questions can make such a difference. And then also educating people on how to be a part of a conversation as they're figuring out those answers. And so this is teaching people to be open-minded and comprehensive in where they're looking for information. This is helping people to be articulate with the words that they intend to use to provide those answers. And when, for me, I meet someone who I think just asks excellent questions and provides those kinds of answers, that's when you can look at someone and say, that's an educated person. So if I, as an educator, feel that way about someone that I've had the opportunity to teach, then perhaps that day I can call myself an educator, and I feel like my job is done. And so I've been doing that in Myanmar for just about 6 years now. And it's really been a privilege. There's this whole conversation in Myanmar, in Southeast Asia, in East Asia, that so much of learning has been about texts, and it hasn't been about asking questions and talking about answers. And so, coming here, I came into a school that was working particularly on that. But being here this long has really made me reflect on my experience in America. And we like to assume it's one of the most progressive systems. But I think there's still so much there to be done in terms of getting people engaged with the subject that they're learning, having them feel responsible for it. And also for people to appreciate what we have in our education environments. In Myanmar, you learn what it means not to have resources, electricities, textbooks, enough teachers to teach a class properly. You learn what it means not to have the political security to teach or even to say something that's perhaps even just an opinion, even if it's a fact. All of those things could get you in trouble. And I think also the opportunity to design our own futures. And so for me, I guess, part of me is very much looking forward to going back to America and bringing a lot of these lessons of what is available in our academic environments, and then hoping to continue and work with people on being more educated, where it is, again, less about the test, less about the outcome, and really more about the process of who you are and who you're becoming. And this is all rolled up, perhaps, in a greater interest in having societies, and particularly young people, make constructive decisions. So often it's easy for us to be destructive, or at least just to putter around and stall, and never really make a commitment, make a decision to try to improve the environment that we're in, whether that's a one-person environment or whether that's your entire body politic, government, etc. And so many of my lessons here from Myanmar I know will be carried back in that capacity. And also being outside of the country, many students from Myanmar do come to America and do circulate through the world. And so getting to be there to support them as they're continuing to seek experiences and knowledge that they can bring back to the work that they do in Myanmar. And all of this, whether this is someone from Myanmar or whether this is someone from the US or anywhere in between, being a part of an open conversation and continuing to foster exposure and appreciation for new ideas and experience is going to be absolutely critical in the decades to come.